Hey guys, Broken Gamers back for another little video. Before I kick into it, please do me a favour and hit the subscribe or like button if you like what we're doing. Any help as a newbie streamer is super welcome, and I'll be very, very grateful. Thank you. The plan today is to do a bit of tour play to expand on the tutorial I did on tips, gameplay tips and setup tips for novice and intermediate levels, and try and look at incorporating some of that into the gameplay that I do, and you can see how I do it. You can see on my screen I've got my usual setup, so you can see my notebook app and you can see exactly what I'm doing all the way through. What we discussed in the videos, where are you? Which one is it? So on the gameplay side of things, just looking at being, safety first most of the time. Looking at our opponent, not in a terms of how we can worry about how good he is or anything like that, but just how we can form a bit of an opinion of maybe how he might play and use that to our positive effect. Also, looking at his shots when he's taking them and kind of predicting what might happen or what he might do, and just using it as extra experience so that we double, especially when we're new to the game, we double our experience every single hole. Practice perfect, something that I really need to do more often myself. Concentration goes very much in hand with that. Taking a few risks when we need to and using overpower when we need to, and hopefully not when to stop when you're on a bit of a losing streak. Just take some time out. Well, that's hopefully not going to happen today, or I'm not doing a very good job. From a setup point of view, not going to do too much today. This is more about gameplay, but we will have a look at the balls I'm using, bag setup and club selection. So we'll go into that now. I'm going to use as my primary bag a good driver, well, the best driver I have at the moment. This is my third account, so it's not particularly well developed. Extra Mile 6, Sniper 8, Grizzly 6, Thorn 5. So pretty middle of the road. But this is my normal one. So yeah, more powerful driver with an accurate sniper. Then I've got two bags with fairly accurate clubs as drivers rather than the Extra Mile, which doesn't have a big ball guide. So if I want to be super safe, I've got those two. And then the combination of the Extra Mile and the longer wood, the Horizon in my case at the moment, is the best option I've got. Although in tour play I won't use this one much, because even though it might help me on the initial par 4 or par 5, if it goes to a shootout, then I'm going to be a bit scuppered with the Horizon because the ball guide is pretty rubbish. But sometimes I might choose to use it, so it's there. And then the big topper bag for the ones where I have to drive, or my first bounce is a bit shorter, but I need to push on with some topspin. Pretty simple setup. The balls I've got on this account are hardly any paid balls, but what I do have is a par 5 ball, which is I really like this ball actually. So power 4, wind 4, so good for par 5s where there's some heavy headwind. You've got the free to play Berserker if you've got a tailwind, power 5 with no wind one wind resistance, sorry. So I've got those two, and then I've got a par 3 ball, which is the NASCAR, fairly new ball, which is also really good, power 2, wind 5, so a very accurate ball with good side spin as well. And those two types of balls are probably the only types of balls I'll ever buy for this account, and that's it. The season 31 and June ball I've got there I had nothing else at that moment. I didn't have the Magic or the NASCAR, and I just needed some, so I bought 5 of each. Okay, so that's what we're using there. Today we're going to be using the Quasar because it will allow me to show you things with some side spin. I don't want much wind reduction, because I want to be able to have to calculate around the wind, so I don't want to take that away, and a power 1 ball as well. So a nice ball for a lower tour I use quite a lot. So what have we got? So yeah, here's my account. So as I say, 500 odd, 600 odd games, not too experienced. And we're going to try and play 10 games today and see if we can try and keep up our win percentage. So let's try and win 8. Target is to win 8 of the 10 holes we play, and if we can do any better than that, then great. So, right, got my notebook set up with my Power 1 ball and the clubs, the bag that I've got at the moment. So let's do it. Let's head on into tour 6. See what we can do. I've actually just lost a game where it timed out on the shootout, but it said perfect on the last second, which meant I took my finger off and then it said timed out. Well, that's not fair. So anyway, a bit gutted about that one. So that lost quite an okay win streak actually, but never mind. So what have we got here? Who are we playing? Tiger Woods, right? The one and only. So he's using a katana ball. He's just a regular player, obviously. Played 1,600 games, so experienced. Looks like he's going to bring out a paid ball. Fair enough. Let him do that, that's all good. Definitely wouldn't be choosing to do that on this hole. It's just a simple hop over and rough bump, unless you've got a big tailwind and you want to go for green. So I'm going to put the 10%, oh my lord, put the 10% into my app, because I know that's what I play on this one. Actually no, I play 20%, what I'm talking about. This is Sequoia Creek, isn't it? A lot of the holes are 20% on this one. So we're just going to head nice and simple, down the middle. Okay, 7.9, as you can see here is the sniper. We're, extra mile, but we're not quite at top, so I'm going to play that 3.5. Nice and simple. Rotate the screen, and this is where we want to practice perfect. Try and get onto this nice and early so you're not rushed. Boom. Oh, great left. Sorry. Right, that's okay. One of the main things we do when we set up, whenever possible, is to allow for a great left or great right, but we don't want to be, not worry about it too much. We still want to try and hit perfect every time, okay? Which I obviously didn't do. He's got a great ball here with top spin boost. I mean, why? It doesn't matter. You use your paid balls on tour 6 all you want, mate. So here I played 10% elevation rough bump, and the most important thing on this one is to try and guess your min-max slider position as accurately as possible. Because that's the biggest adjustment you're going to have to make. Now the good thing here is we do have. Ooh, I'm right. I didn't know. I can use the grizzly. I can go quite high up on this and use the grizzly because it's a tiny wind. Okay, so we're going to spin right to the hole on this one. Sometimes you do have to do a little offset on this hole. I've got the ball guides a bit shorter on this one, so we're at max as a 3. I'm not sure I'm going to be able to pull back 3. Oh no, we're at minimum. What am I talking about? 2.2. Okay, let's bring that down and go once. I've got time for it to come back again. And then we do hit perfect on this one. Okay, boom, and a hit. Cool. Say thanks. Okay, so a nice start, right? It's always nice to win without having to go to a shootout. And now it's saying he's got loads of trophies on his under his name. It didn't have that in there. It had nothing. Has he got trophies or has he not got trophies? Not that it really matters. Visual glitches really annoy me sometimes. Okay, so one down. So what did we do there? We used a little bit of perfection, played so that we, if we did hit a great left or great right on the drive, we were okay, and we were. Go back in for number 2. I'll try and explain my notebook app movements as quickly as I can. So Southern Pines. I don't know what this one is off the top of my head. Oh, it's this one. And it's us going first. Right, okay, so we try and sneak through the trees, but this is tough as. And you can't push too far. You see, if I push up, we hit the trees. So you've got to just hit, find this nice little bit there. Push that up. 1.4. It's a tiny little 0.6 adjustment, but it's really important that we do it on this hole. I just got to hope the wind pushes it before that tree. I might do a tiny bit of left curl to avoid that tree. There we go, that's nice. So obviously the adjustment we did for the wind will bring it back to the bullseye. So we went left and the wind will push it back to the bullseye with the adjustment, but the trees are before that. So the wind won't have pushed it all the way back as it's going through the trees. It won't push it all the way back until it hits the ground. So if the trees are halfway in between, I'm trying to thread them perfectly between the trees, then I could have clipped, because I adjusted left, I could have hit the tree on the left because the wind hasn't moved it enough right yet. So I did a mini right curl just to make sure that I didn't hit that tree. But that's mini, super mini. He's doing the same shot. And we can take a chance to have a look at him now. 71% win percentage with 163 games. So the chances are he hasn't got particularly developed clubs, but this is not his first account. And he's obviously a good player. He knows the setup. He's also deciding to use Titan balls. So yeah, we've got a good level of player here. Be careful, he's made it through nicely. Give him a bit of kudos. So now we've done our shot so that we land with a nice little see-through here. And we're sniper. Yeah, hopefully I've got enough backspin. Oh, it's close, isn't it? I have to come back even more, just to there. I'm going to go with the wind. Okay, so you see how I've changed my direction with my spin to match. And I'm not going to actually move it because I'm going too fast. If I adjusted against the wind, I'd be even faster. So I'm hoping, because I'm in line with the wind, that basically the wind is just going to take a bit of speed out of my ball. If this goes in, it'll be very lucky, but still. Oh, nice try. But you see how changing my spins to be in the direction of the wind makes your calculations super easy. Okay, and because I wasn't far enough back because I was at min club, I couldn't go any further back. But because it was a slight headwind, and the guide was in line with the wind going to the hole, I was just hoping all it would do was take the edge off the speed of the ball because it was quite a small wind. It took a bit too much off, and you just have to be a bit lucky. But yeah, that would have been a nice drop. We were very close. Let's see what Aston Villa dude does. That's perfect. Oh, he clips the rough. I didn't watch his setup, to be honest with you, but that would have been an interesting one to try and predict what he was doing And would we have predicted him hitting that rough and learn from it? It wasn't a big win, so I don't quite know how he did it. Maybe he couldn't quite get there or something. No, he must have done, because he was in the same position as me and we were at minimum of sniper. That's not a nice ball guide. I guess he probably knows his club to know where it's going, but he's obviously a good player. Cool. Well, we need to do some shootouts anyway, it's important. Can't just win anything nice and simple, but yeah. It will be interesting to see how this goes. If you're just literally thinking about the win, then you're kind of hoping that his lack of club maturity is going to help us massively. Right, so this one's fun. I like this hole. Going to play the hop over, roughly 50% of club, and then you see this nice little roll down. It's very consistent, and the wind's pushing it. It will push it a little bit right, but I'm going to use a little bit of curl to push it even more. So I don't play any elevation on this one. Look, you can see it's pretty flat. 3.1 up here. My adjustment. Okay, and if I hit perfect, I'll be very unhappy if this is more than a yard away. Practice perfect. Bounce over, up. Yeah, come in. Close enough. Ooh, outside of a yard, that's not good. I'm not sure why he's laughing. But anyway. He's going to play the rough bump. I haven't seen someone do this for a long time, but sniper level 1. Ouch. Not quite sure what to predict with this. He hasn't really got the backspin needed, but it could come back down the hill. Has he done enough to not get stuck in the rough? Okay, that's that way. Is it going to come back down? No. That was well played. For those level of clubs, I'm not being funny, but he's done good there. And now it's showing he's got trophies. What is it with these visual glitches? Watch it next time. I looked at his trophies, all he had was that top one. Now it's saying he's got a gold. Anyway. Right, 2 out of 2, good start. What else do we need to do to have a look at? Make sure we cover off some of our points. Need to take a few risks. Okay, well we're trying to find the most appropriate time to take some risks. I am playing the highest tour I do, so I'm going to open up a couple of chests because I'm trying to develop my clubs. Well, I am using a few of my gems on at the moment when I've got empty slots. I'm only going to do a couple for now. Let's see how it goes. Okay, back to tour 6. Hey, Ali G. Right, what have we got? Okay, well he goes first. So you look at this, he's got nothing under his banner at all. Almost played 3,000 games, so he's experienced and wins almost half his games, so obviously a regular good player. It's not moving his target at the moment. Typically you play left side on this one. Come on, dude. Okay, you can sometimes make it over on the right hand side for a cleaner shot on the second, but as I say, it's not a tailwind and it's quite a big side wind, so trying to get things to land between those tiny bunkers is going to be hard. Right, interesting first shot from Ali G. So full. I'm going to be adjusting upwards. So I'm just going to. The wind might take it that way a bit. So 10.2 on our extra mile. Could actually use a big topper here, but I'm not going to. So 4.2 adjustment. I'm just going to push up to make sure I am at max. And there's a small right curl just to counter that quite heavy side wind. Okay, practice perfect as much as possible. Plenty of room for a great left or great right error on that one. And that brings us in nicely for what will probably be another rough bump. Looking at that, there's no elevation. It dips down and then goes back up roughly to the same level as we are. So unless there's a big crosswind, and there isn't, he's put it's about 3. We might have slightly more because he's using a navigator, which is 2 wind reduction, isn't it? Whereas we've got 1 wind reduction, but have a better side spin. Yeah, 2. So he's playing safe down the right hand side. I guess given he's in the rough, that's the best bet to do. So this rough bump again, just like the other one that we played, is going to be about determining your slider distance as much as possible. So we're at a minimum there and at maximum there. So we're going to be landing only sort of 25% in, which is your minimum. Okay, so it's just there, wasn't it? Yeah, we're going to play min. We're going to spin to the hole, just a little bit through. So 3.4 at minimum. The sniper's 2.6. I'll talk about this in a minute. That why I'm not at minimum. Oops, I'm running out of time, quick. Wow. I'm quite practiced at hitting perfect with only just a second or 2 to go. Oh no! I needed a tiny offset for the wind, I think. Right, so the min distance on these apps are basically like your clubs can't hit 0. Like you can't be at them, your minimum line of your club is not 0. Okay, so it's at least sort of 25%. So where your min line, is, I should have played it a little bit higher, because I was up above my min line, wasn't I? So yeah, sorry, forget that. I should have played slightly higher than min, and that's probably where my adjustment was slightly out. I would have been at a more like a 10% slider there rather than a 0. I should have put that in. Confusing myself. So 3 wins out of 3. Not a bad start. See, look there, I told you at the beginning there was nothing under his name. Now all of a sudden he's got a gold banner. Why would a gold banner be underneath a plain banner? So it's just a visual glitch. I'm not going to stop going on about it now. Okay, still haven't taken many risks not that it was possible to. Finding that slider position on those rough bumps is all important. Alright, 3 out of 3. It was quite good actually. We had a good combination of opponents with different experiences and different club levels. I really don't mind if we come up with some people who, so many people have been using paid balls on Tour 6. I really don't mind if we come up against some of them just to show you that you don't have to worry about it. Manu. Quite similar to the guy before last actually. 66% win ratio is obviously seriously good. He's only played 153 games, so A, he probably won't have particularly developed clubs, but B, this is probably his, this probably isn't his first account. Either that or he's just done really well, which is absolutely possible as a new player. I don't really want to have a better ball than him, but I want to keep using the Quasar throughout this because it's such a good ball to use on this tour and it's not expensive at all. Okay, so big wind right to left, 9.8, we're not, max is up here, so not at max, just above half I'd say. I'm going to come away from the edge a little bit, 9.8, we're going to do maybe a 3.8. Look about right to you, not quite at max, but I think we're a bit higher up than mid. Now the wind will take it a little bit left, but because I brought it out, I'm just going to put a baby left as well. I left enough room for a great left or great right, but disappointed that I hit a great left then. It's a bit of a snapshot. To concentrate on practicing perfect more. Really snapped at that. It's not that easy trying to factor in talking and doing it and trying to play with as much concentration as you possibly can. So sorry if I do a few things wrong. Right, so no problem on this hole really, just got to concentrate about our game. If I remember this hole properly, then if you have a big backspin wood, like the Guardian, then you can do a bit of a shot up the back of the green, but I don't. So maybe we can give it a go. Just don't think. Doesn't really come across much, does it? 2.5. That max is a 2.4. The wind will take it a little bit right. Practice perfect, come on. Okay. Yeah, the wind took it too much right, but good effort. I should probably have put maybe a 5% wind on that elevation just to bring it across a bit more, because the wind will take that wind effect after that first bounce, pushing it a bit more to the right. But a nice try. So 2 shots here, so he's got to get this in. And look at his banner now. Nothing under his name. I'm assuming that's going to have a gold banner under it in a minute. There I am, promising I won't talk about it again. Okay. Doing all right. 4 out of 4 is that? There you go. Last time I mentioned it, I promise. banners under his name. There was a glitch not too long ago where you saw them go into the water on their drive, and then you play appropriately, probably quite safe because you think, oh, they've gone into the water. And then when they come to take their second shot, they didn't go into the water whatsoever. They actually hit, well, a different shot, landed potentially on the green. That's the worst visual glitch, because you adapt your own play accordingly to something that didn't actually happen. There's some pretty mad tickets into Playdemic, I'm sure. Right, so here we are. I can do a big OP here, can't we? But I'm going to switch out for the big top up. Make sure we use our bag selection properly. Give that a big push. Just going to push it to the right anyways. I'm not too worried about that. So full, everything. Use my metronome in my head, like boom, 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 boom. A small great white, definitely take that. Pretty boring tee shot, this one, but good OP practice. So who have we got? We didn't have a look a minute ago, did we? Pure Trek, VW Airheads. Wow, this type of player we come across a lot. So low games, high win percentage. He's on a 7 win streak. Guessing it's not his first account, but could just be a good player, good novice player. Assuming again his clubs won't be particularly well developed because he's played so few games. I quite like to come up against some toughies for you. Okay, so we've got to land perfectly on this little groove. So finding out where we are, we're probably playing about 30%. Which side should we go? Let's go. Ooh. We need to go nearer the end of the pad on this one, so probably, yeah, what was it? Just over 30%. So on the, oh, it's just not that much, is it, anyway? So let's just do 2.6 quickly. I'm not leaving myself enough time on these, so it's pretty much safe. Great left or great right proof, but practice perfect. Concentrate and you'll hit it a lot more times than if you just try and flippantly do it. Okay, I think it's a rough bump kind of day. It's either that or on this hole, actually, depending on the wind and where you are in your, sometimes you get stuck in your club distances. You're at the min or max of a club or in between clubs. I think the backspin on the thorn works on this as well. It's just I'm not particularly good, and I haven't seen particularly good success rates of people, you know, getting the backspins going in regularly. Okay, so where are we? We're at minimum there, and max is way up here somewhere, so we're like 5-10% in. And that's fairway, isn't it? That's not rough, so I can't use it as a rough bump. Wow, that's interesting. So it is a full backspin. And then I always find that with the thorn, you have to go quite up, like 3.1. We're at quite low down, aren't we? So what, a 1? That doesn't look particularly good there. Come on, I've got to do this quickly. 1-ish. Just say to you I never get them in and we get one in. Maybe I should do them more often, and get better at them. But did you see I put my guide quite far beyond the pin? Like, not massively, but it only just went past the pin and started coming back. So I often find with the Thorn, when you're using backspin, that you have to exaggerate the ball guide going past the hole. Even if you're doing, backspin, like 3 or 4 backspin with the Thorn, and particularly if you're going sort of, uphill or anything like that, you need to put that ball guide through the hole, not to the hole. Let's see if we can get a rematch. Is he keen? No. Alright. I want to play someone with some good clubs, and I don't mind if they use paid balls. Good experience. Makes you concentrate a bit harder too sometimes. What are we up to? 5? Might get worse. I'm having a glass of wine when I'm doing this, so if my game starts to tail off a bit, you know why. A bottle of Italian Montepulciano. A whole £5.75 from Tesco's. Right. Right, this is an interesting hole. So now we're going to try and visualize this ball landing. So in my app, I'm going to quickly put in 7.0 with the wind arrows going up for this one, and it's a 3.4 on the extra mile. So I'm at max, but I'm going to visualize 3.4 rings in the direction of the wind. Okay. I want it to be over a bit because it's surprising how far. Now I'm probably not going to make the far. Right, let me do this because I've got to get a bit of 1, 2, 3. Okay. Yeah, it probably won't make the far fairway. I'm going to explain my thoughts. No. Okay, and this may not pay off, but I have very little curl. 4. I have very little curl on this driver. I don't have a ball with enough side spin like he's using here with the katana. So to do the shot that he's doing where you curl it round to the right side of the fairway is what I would do with my other 2 accounts, but I just don't have the ball or the club to do it with the curl. And hitting it straight, you don't get near enough to the... It's a really tough second shot as well. So I had a small chance there, I thought, of making it over to the far fairway. Has he just played a straight shot? You'll see here how difficult his second shot can be, but maybe because he's got the clubs, he can make it. But I find here that even with the rough, not quite actually, 6.1, what's that going to do for me? 3.4 rings up. Wow, that's close, isn't it? Okay. That's close, and the nearest bit of... Okay, this is not going to work out. But my ball might run out of the rough onto the fairway at least. If I can somehow... This is tough, this. 1, 2, boom, 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 boom. Oh, I'll definitely take that at that speed. So can it bump? Yeah. So that's all I could really hope for, really, is it for it to push out of the rough. So for me, that was a risk worth taking. He's now got this. He's got a tailwind, so he's probably going to be okay. But you can see how he can't do much more than me anyway. But because he's got good clubs, I would aim left here and curl it round. I don't know what the big dog will do, to be honest with you. But now he's just, he was there laughing at me, putting 4 up, like whatever, and he's been lucky to push out the rough like I did, and even worse than I did. I don't have my 4, just to do it. But anyway, right. So here we are at the end bringer. Okay, the end bringer rule you can link to, but we're at about 120% of the end bringer. Slightly downhill, so 10%, put 20 in here, so on the end bringer was at 6.5, God, this is going to be tough. Add those numbers together is 5. Let's see what we can do here. This is a tough shot, but I'll explain more in 1 second. That wasn't good enough. That was always going to be tough. I think it was more. Should have done more adjustment than that. In fact, I've done it wrong. Okay. Where do I start? So the end bringer rule, I'm not going to teach it to you on this. I've got a whole tutorial on it, but basically use 20% as your standard elevation, and if it's extra elevation, you add it to that. And I just took it away from that, which was ridiculous, hence why I under adjusted. So you just point to the hole, no spin, and you put in your true slider, which for me was 120% there. Again, my tutorial explains it. And then I should have done 30% because it was downhill, 10% more than the average, the standard 20. And I took 10 off for some reason. So I adjusted there the 4.2 plus the 8, 5 for 100%, because it's 120% of where the ball guide finishes to, plus another 20%. So I put 20% into my slider, as you can see there, which is 0.8. So I add the 100% 4.2 to the 0.8, but it should have been 30% elevation. I put that in, so I adjusted 5 rings. I should have adjusted 6 rings, and that's why I missed it. Quite hard to just explain the end bringer rule on the fly, but for those of you who know it, that's why I messed up. And there's good experience, you know, if you mess up, just try and understand, you know, why you messed up, and then next time you'll be like just a little bit more specific, or you remember it a little bit more. But I just put in 10% uphill because, yeah, as I say, 20% is normal, and then you add 10% for downhill, so 30%. Whereas an uphill, you know, it's the other way around. Anyway, considering he put 4 in at the beginning for me for my shot, he didn't even make it to the shootout. So, don't like to be mean to our opposition, but that's slightly funny. Okay, win streak of 6 out of 6. Not bad. Can we make the 8 out of 10, or can we do even better than that? Let's keep on plowing on through. So we've done some risk shots now too, and we've done an end bringer shot. Good, we've got some diversity in our play. He was obviously skilled as well, much more developed player. What have we got now? I always miss seeing what hole it is in that. Like, they don't give you long. Like, they match you up, and then it suddenly flashes up, and then you get this golf clash screen. Why can't they keep it on the screen with what hole you're playing? Ooh. Okay. Right. This is... Sometimes I go round the trees to the left, but this is going to be interesting. Let's visualize where this is going. We need to put quite a bit of right curl on this. So 7.4 up to the right is going to be 3.7. So we want that to land. Don't want to hit that tree. Just going to put there, okay? Full up, right, and curl to the right. Boom, 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 boom. That's not too bad. See if we make it through the trees to start with, which we do. Oh, sweet. Sweet. Happy with that. We hit a great left. You got a bit close to the rough on the left, but we obviously great left, great right proofed that as well. That's the shot visualization I think I do in one of my other tutorials, where you just visualize it, and you need to get used to doing that. And because it was only, if that had been a left to right wind, it's a little bit left to right, but a bigger left to right wind, you couldn't have done this because you wouldn't have made it through those trees, because as I said on the other hole, your ball won't have come back, the wind won't have pushed it back enough, in which case you have to go curl round that left tree, or if the wind's coming the other way, you can curl round the right tree, but your landing spot on the right hand side is a bit tougher because there's a lot more rough around your natural landing spot. Lovely hole that to do well. Haven't looked at our opponent just yet. Is he done just as well? Is he going to pop out? It's a bit unlucky. Okay, so been blessed with quite a straight wind, so this is just about hitting perfect, really. Don't rush it. Nice. So there, another OP risk. It's worth taking it, because sometimes if you end up in the rough on those shots, it doesn't matter. You're going to have an easy rough shot onto the green, and maybe even a chance at getting it in with your rough club. Whereas if you lay up short, you're going to have a tough long or short iron shot that, okay, you might get some of them in, but the chances are on this, you're going to do, the risk is definitely worth it. And the feeling of doing it well is really great as well. The matching thing's giving us quite a lot of low opponents with low games, which even if they're experienced, which I think quite a lot of them are, they just don't have the balls. Sorry, not the balls. The developed clubs. I'm not going to try and rematch him because that's just a bit unfair, really. I do wonder why sometimes they race to Tour 6 when they've only played 100 games. And it's not to do with their experience or their ability, it's just to do with the fact that their clubs aren't quite there yet. Maybe it's because they just want to open up. You have to get to certain tours to even have clubs open up in the chests, like the Sniper, I think, is Tour 6, isn't it? And the APOC is Tour 7. So the sooner you get there, the sooner you'll open up that club, in theory. So where are we at? 7. Well, we only need to win 1 out of the last 3 to hit the target. Mubsy. Again, I missed what hole we're playing. Concentration. Oh, it's not this hole again. Right. I'm going to do the same shot, but if we get a similar wind to him, which is 4.1. What have I done for 4.1? I'm going to put it against. We're going to be looking at a 2 adjustment. Okay. I'm going to do it again, but again, we're going to, if that gap, you've got any manoeuvrability in that gap, we're going to want it to be on the right hand side of that gap because we're adjusting to the left. And as I say, the wind won't have pushed it all the way back. How did he do that? I didn't even look. I'll stick with my shot, but that looked good. Right, so we know we're playing here. Okay, so you see there's a bit of a I'm going to play it quite right of that gap, full top spin, and we've got a 4.7, so we've got even more, and down. We're not quite at max, so I'm going to call that 2.1. Okay, is that? Okay, I'm going to do a little curl right again. Try and miss that tree. Ah, now I'm hitting the tree, surely. Yeah. Yeah, I was trying to go a little bit right by curling right to miss the tree on the left, and what I did is I hit great left and went even more towards it. So he's done a great play. And we've definitely lost this hole. Good player. There's no real way of recovering this, unfortunately. I'll lay it up for a sniper shot at the target, obviously. Okay, where are we? Let's try and get it. Try and get it so we have as clear a view through that gap as we can. 5.8. 5.8, max is a 3.3. I'm going to push up in the exact direction of our ball guide, and then boom, boom. Ooh, ouch! Great. That was a double great right, I think. Okay. See there? So we lined it up so we can see through those trees as much as possible. But yeah, it's game over, I'm afraid. A small part of me wanted to do a 10-win streak. Never mind. Too well played. So where are we? Grizzly at max. .5, Grizzly at max is an 8.4. I'm running out of time. I knew I was going to be too quick anyway, I just didn't have the room. Give him good luck. Okay. Maybe we can play this dude again. Yeah. Well, 7 out of 8. Let's try and get our 8th one, shall we? A little bit more Vin Rouge. That's probably why I'm slipping up. Alright. I'm going to go back, if I remind myself, go back and re-watch his tee shot, because I think he found a safer way of getting close to that position I wanted. Alright, here's a good one. Ooh. Where's Max? Up there. Okay, so we're going to try and roll down this hill. Okay. That's it. Yeah, put 10% on here, 8.1, we're at about mid. We're going to need to boom full max curl to bring that round. So 3.7. I didn't want to use any of my other clubs because it wouldn't have the distance to be able to push against that. Perfect board. Because it was a headwind, I don't think we'd have been able to push up enough. But that's perfect. Very happy with that. I also know that even though you don't have a huge amount of curl with that extra mile, I just know that it's got just enough to make that bend perfectly and being almost as far up as you can be. And if you know that and make a note of that on the tough par 4s or par 5s, simple little things like that, then I don't, if I had more curl, I'd actually be going, oh, well, was it 40%, 50%, 60%, 70%? I can't quite, and you have to remember that and even try and work out where that percentage is. Whereas with that club, I just know it's full curl right, and I'll make the corner and be in a very good position for the next shot. Unlucky. There's a nice little landing pad here. We're pretty much at full. We're quite lucky to have a tailwind. I'm going to stay quite high up because I want to put, I'm going to stick it to the hole. It's got tailwind, so I'm not going to go quite to the hole. I'm going to put, even though it's fairly flat, I'm going to put 10% elevation on here for that 8.6. And we're pretty much at max, so let's go to 8.8. Practice perfect. Get in, come on, damn. Still a great shot, very happy with that. If you do a shot where you're close to the pin on this hole, then chances are at least half the time they're not even going to get on the green, like in this particular case. So hopefully this is our 8th, if he doesn't get this next shot in when we've got our 8th win. We have one go at exceeding our target. He's got the horizon. This is an example of why I don't use the horizon. It's just not. He doesn't need the distance on this particular hole, and it doesn't have the ball guide, and if he goes to the shootout he's in even more trouble. Only use it if you really think you're not going to get to the shootout, if you don't have the distance on the second shot, by looking at your opponents and trying to guess if they have really good clubs and balls to get them there when you can't. That's the only time I use a power wood in tour play, or at least at this tour. Right, just for speed, I'll see if he wants a rematch. Nope. Okay. I can't believe, is it right, we've had 9 games and not one person has used a paid ball against us. Playing over the last couple of days, I've had tons of paid balls on Tour 6, which I find crazy, but Clan Wolfie, Nevster. Let's see what they got. Can they halt us in our tracks to go beyond our target? Oh, here's a good one to take a few risks. The only problem with this is I like the rough bump on the right, on the left, from the left hand side anyway. So why wouldn't I go left? What do you reckon? Should we go right just to? Let's see what it does, because we want to take riskier shots, which you would take when the other players, you need to make ground on the other player because they're, really good, or, you just feel like you've got a chance of getting one up. So, no, I don't think I've got the power. 7.3 up is 4 rings, and 4 rings up, I'm not on that green. Not going to happen, I'm afraid, sorry. So, instead, I'm going to go up here. So that's actually going to 3.8. It's actually going to push us quite high up. I'm not going to push up anymore to get any more distance on this. Unless we curl, I'm going to take a few risks. I'm going to curl to the right. And I hit a great right. Should great proof our shots. Yeah. There we go, that's alright. Has it done us many favours though? Not really. Unnecessary risk. We're way up much further forward than him, but we both got a shot. Wow, he's got a tough shot here. Now the problem with the rough bump is it's a tough wind. So he's banging between clubs. He needs to use that rough bump to slow his ball down more than try and get it in the hole. And Goliath, he can't pull against the wind. What's he doing? You put OP on it? Just hope for the best. Okay. So because of this tough wind, I've got a 10 wind. What was he using? Okay, where are we? We're at. It's quite far down. Probably about 60% club, if not 70. And then go up to the hole. But even though it's fairly flat, or even slightly up, I'm going to play a 10% elevation because of that crosswind. 9.7 at about 70% slider, so 9.7-ish rings. This isn't going to go in, but that's one more ring yet. Quick. Slow, 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 slow. Oh. It's a tough crosswind to get that in the hole, but I'm pretty happy with that. That was very close. I did the 10% over adjusting more than I would adjust normally because of that wind, and even that wasn't enough. So unless he gets this in, nope, then that's a wrap for today. If you want me to do any more of this sort of stuff on any other tours, or explain some specific things in more detail, then please do. Obviously you've got the other tutorials. But yeah, I just thought, following the stream I did on the gameplay tips and novice tips, that it might be quite nice just to demonstrate it in game a little bit, and hopefully you can see that it generally works fairly well. And I was running out of time quite a lot on a few of those, but I think a lot of that is down to the fact that I'm streaming at the same time as playing, which does take a little bit more time to set things up and think things through a little bit and show some things. So luckily with my practice, I'm quite good at hitting perfect on the very first half swing. Something that I'm quite comfortable with, and letting the clock tick down to just 1 or 2 seconds left and utilising my time as much as possible. But at the same time, don't start to rely on that. It's much better to get to the needle with 10 seconds to go, so you can fine tune and really watch that needle and practice perfect as much as possible. 9 wins out of 10, happy with that for the evening. Hope you enjoyed it. Take care guys, happy golfing, and see you in a stream soon.